Today on the podcast, we are talking about the NFL preview. Y'all know how we do. We've been doing this for the past few years now, and we're going to get into it and talk about it bright and early here on Wednesday morning. Your team, my team, their team, everybody's team. But really, we're talking about the ones who have the chance to win the big game, Super Bowl. Fair Money Podcast starts right about now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fair Money Podcast. It's your boy, Simbawi Nivayu Jr., a.k.a. TK, along with my man Omar Williams and Denise Obi. Y'all say what's up to the peeps.
What's up, good people?
Hello, hello, hello.
It is another lovely Wednesday morning. Y'all know how we do, how we get down. We get things popping and started, but before we do, it is Affirmation Wednesday. So if you got your affirmations out in front of you, you got to memorize or what have you, let's get that in and out the way and keep it moving. Are you ready? Here we go. Today will be a good day. Today will be a great day. Today will be an awesome day. Today will be an amazing day. Today will be a phenomenal day. Today will be stress-free. Today will be a stressless day. Today, all things will work for my good. Today, all things will line up and work for my good. I never lose. I either win or I learn. I take authority over this day. I will dominate this day. I will conquer this day. I am triumphant. I am victorious. And because I will speak all these things into existence into my day, I am more than a conqueror. Let's get it started. It is NFL preview week here at the Fair Money Podcast. And so if you got the video portion of this, you can see that we're all repping our teams on here. You got the Eagles with D Nice and O. You got the Bengals with me. You can see it here. Who they talking about them Bengals. You know how I go. So before we get started, I did take my son to an Eagles game, the last preseason game that the Eagles had. Took him to the game. It was a surprise for him. He's an Eagles fan. Unfortunately, his grandfather, who is my wife's husband, got him to go to the dark side early. So I was unable to convince him to be a Bengals fan, but he knows who I represent. He knows who I like, who I love. He roots for him, except for when they play the Eagles. But he is a diehard Eagle fan. He knows stats. He knows games. He knows all that stuff. I mean, his favorite player is Randall Cunningham. He's got a Randall Cunningham jersey, throwback. So he's really into the Eagles organization and all they do. He's into the trades. He knows who's coming, who's going, who's playing, who's not. I mean, this boy's in it. You know what I mean? 14, going on 15. And it's like, you would think this boy has a fantasy team, like for real, the way he's into the Eagles and into like what they do, the business, all that. I'm like, dude, like, can you put some of that into your schoolwork? No, I'm just playing. No, he's good. He's good. But I would like him to these. I'm like, dude, like you put a little bit more of that into your schoolwork. I'm like, we talking, you know. Listen, he's a ABC student. You know, just sometimes he's like slacks off, but it's all good. But when it comes to sports, listen, he knows the stats, he knows his news, and he knows the game. So for all you Eagle fans out there, you got a Eagles fan repping you over here on this side, knowing the ins and outs, and probably knows more than a lot of you do. I'm telling you, like he's in it, for real. So, but let's start off talking about with NFL news. for what happened from the summer up to now. So um, I'm gonna start it off with two things. I'll do one first. First of all, Aaron Rodgers is back with the New York Jets, and that's big news because number one is New York, right? So it's big news. Aaron Rodgers is back, right? And the big super big question is the Jets are automatic contender to play in or win Super Bowl, right? Oh, shaking his head. I feel you on that. I'll let you express yourself in a minute, brother. All right. Aaron Rodgers is back. Big news, right? Second thing is this whole wide receiver holdout thing. Now, um, of course, my man over in Cincinnati was holding out, hasn't signed yet, and so. But the great thing is that I know he will, and that it will get done. He's playing the game. You know what I mean? And my thing is that look, at least he's showing up to practice. He's at the game, so he's involved in what's going on with those who are playing, the rookies, the guys that are there. His main thing is, hey, I just want to get paid what I believe the market can pay me, right? I get it. You know what I mean? Um, you've got Ayuk who wants to get paid, right? Then you got CD Lamb who has already gotten paid, right? But CD Lamb, he held out, wasn't doing much, and finally got paid, and that's cool, right? But let's go back to Aaron Rodgers. He's back. What are your thoughts on the whole Aaron Rodgers thing? Because we're going to dive into this whole AFC thing. Because me being a Bengals fan, I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say because Joe Burrow's back. And y'all know Aaron Rodgers, according to Stephen A. Smith, is a bad man. Joe Burrow, just the name itself, strikes fear in other people because that dude, he come ready. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
You want to go Denise or me?
Is he in his prime still? That's the main question. Joe Burrow.
Oh, a
Joe.
question with a question.
Yes.
Is
Joe
he still in
Burrow.
his prime? The answer to that question is no. He is not in his prime. He
All
will be
right.
40 this year.
All right. So is he the next Tom Brady? That's the next question. I have to
That
follow
would
with
be a no.
questions. So all I can say is, well, one of the things I can say is we shall see this season. Joe Burrow, he hasn't hit his prime yet, and I mean that in a good way. Lamar Jackson hasn't hit his prime yet in a good way. Jalen Hurts has not hit his prime yet in a good way. And they are young, fresh legs on the field. Aaron Rodgers hit his prime, going past his prime. Probably has more injuries than Brady did. So let's just say the Jets, their season could be an okay season, but I don't know how long he's gonna stay healthy. Is he in it to win it?
Mm. Is he in it to win it? Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, my take is this. I'm more of a believer in like organizations over the player. So if an organization's been trash for 50 years, they're probably going to be trash for 51 years. So Aaron Rodgers is that guy. Again, like what Denise said, is he in his prime still? He's not, right? So he's 40 years old, playing for a trash organization. I just don't have any faith in it. I think they're just trying to talk it up, because they don't have anything else to talk about. And Aaron Rodgers is back, and it's like Jordan coming back with the 4 or 5, right? With 45
Right.
Jordan, it's just not the same,
Uh,
right? But
right. Right.
I just believe in organizations. Joe Montana left the San Francisco 49ers, went to Kansas City, and it just wasn't the same. So they got Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay, going to the Jets. He got hurt on the first play last year. Again, he's 1 year older with a worse team. I had no faith, but we've seen crazier things in the NFL. So, but I wouldn't put my I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be calling home saying the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. That is not it. That's not it this year.
Okay. Go ahead, Denise.
I was gonna say, last thing I have to add to that is just look how when Brady was at the Patriots, the organization, the fans, mommies and daddies, baby mamas, grandpas, uncles, everybody rallied around him. when he went to the Bucks, everybody, including the organization, rallied around him. So they felt that even when he was in his 40s, he was still not only taking care of himself, but people believed in him. With Aaron
Mm,
Rodgers, it's kind of different. The organization is not there. Um, they're not necessarily great at recruiting. You can see that for the past couple seasons. So I think overall, they need to start with the organization and work their way down.
mm. All right, so I'll touch on a few of y'all points there. So yeah, number one, Aaron Rodgers is not in his prime. All right, he's on his way out. Whether he plays another year or two, I mean, he's got another year in his contract with the Jets, I believe. So he's going to finish that contract out, one or the other. After that, he's probably likely going to retire. But I'm guessing, right? I don't think anyone else is going to take Aaron Rodgers if he leaves the Jets. And outside of that 2-year contract that he has left on his career, the Jets probably aren't going to resign him unless like he just throws back the clock or whatever, right? Um, I will say, just to Denise's point, yes, he's not how Tom Brady was in his 40s. I think that Aaron's best years are in Green Bay, but that still has left to be said. He hasn't played a season with the Jets yet. He played 4 minutes of last year's season before he got hurt. We'll see how things go. But O's point, as far as organization, I do believe in that as well. I will say this. The Jets have a defense. That I will say. Offensively, they have players in position, not superstars, not stars, but guys that can get it done if the quarterback play is great. So I think with Aaron Rodgers being there, it helps the offense to be much better than what it was when they had Zach Wilson and anybody else who was there, right? Aaron Rodgers goes down, we're back where we were last season. Just plain and simple. All right. With him, it gives them a chance. I don't see a Super Bowl run, but again, we could possibly be wrong. I say this because there's two teams standing in Aaron Rodgers' way: Kansas City and Cincinnati. You got to beat one or both of those teams to get there. And I'm gonna say that out of here. I'm not gonna put the Baltimore Ravens in there because the Baltimore Ravens have shown who they are in the playoffs, time and time again. And Joe Burrow is the only guy in the past 5 years to beat Mahomes and keep him from a Super Bowl. Okay. And then Pat Mahomes, he's that guy. He's got 3 Super Bowls already. So you can't count them out. They got rid of the cheetah and still didn't fall off. So organization, again, as Denise said, getting players to come and play, that's another organization that can do that. So overall, I look at the Jets as they're going to be an above 500 team, I believe, with the defense they have, and Aaron Rodgers giving them a chance to be that team offensively. They're going to be above 500. I just don't see Super Bowl in this year's season, and I don't see an AFC Championship game as well. I don't. So get into the wide receivers now. We all know that CeeDee Lamb got paid, and looks like things are on the up and up in Dallas. Again, we're still waiting for the Bengals to sign to renegotiate their contract over there, and then we have also Ayuk, who wants to get his contract done. So, from a wide receiver standpoint, because the running backs, they kind of tried this thing last year and it didn't work out for them, right? Because the running backs, their value from a money perspective just isn't that high, right? Then you have the quarterback position, which constantly the money keeps rising for the quarterbacks. Where right now you're looking at probably go $60 million for a quarterback in the NFL, $50, $60 million, right? Wide receivers, of course, the market went up when who was that got signed? Yeah, did resign their contract and the market went up. Who was that? I can't remember who it is right now off the top of my head.
Not CeeDee Lamb,
He'll
right?
help me out. Not CeeDee Lamb, no,
No,
before him. It was I can't remember off the top of my head. It'll come back to me in a minute. But got signed, redid his contract, got his money, and once we get the name, we'll put it out there for everybody so we know. You guys probably know who it is off the top of your head. You guys who are these gurus of NFL news and all that. My son probably knows who it is, right? So, but the market got reset when this particular receiver signed renegotiated his contract. So basically, the market got set again. So now it's like, okay, I see where the market is. Now I want my money, right? So you have to look at it and say, well, this is what I want. And so again, I go as a Bengals fan. You know what I mean? I go back to Jamar Chase. Hey, he's not playing, but he is at practice, and he is at the games in preseason. Doing what he's supposed to do. So, um, I'm not sure what's going on with Ayuk. I'm not sure what's going on there. But hey, as a Bengals fan, I know what's going on with my team and who's doing what. I do know that CD was like, "Hey, man, because y'all pay me, I'll be at home sitting on the couch waiting for y'all to call. Do what y'all got to do. Got paid. Now he's, things looking on the up and up. Here is my question: do we think this is a Dallas Cowboys question? Okay, do we think the fact that CeeDee Lamb has now gotten paid, are we going to see a drop off in his performance, or are we going to see him rise to the occasion? That is the question, because I have no doubt my man Chase is going to rise to the occasion once he gets paid. I can't speak for Ayuk. I think he may. I'm not sure. But we've seen this story before. Guys get the bag, and next thing you know, that production starts coming down. It's kind of like, I got my money. I'm good. I'm just going to ride this out. What are your thoughts?
Go ahead.
You got it, Denise. You got it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I don't think he'll drop off for some reason. I believe he's a player. I believe he's not one of those guys. I think that limelight and that being the best of the best is important to him. You know what I mean? Just like he wanted to get paid like the best. So I don't think he'll fall off. But to go back to my last point about organizations,
Mm-hmm.
the Dallas Cowboys sneakily have been acting like they're one of the top whatever organizations of all time, and they've been bad for the last 30 years. Is it roughly?
Mm-hmm.
Last Super Bowl, I don't know, 90 something.
But we're looking at about 30 years, brother.
About 30 years. So
1996, I believe.
So back to my point, they're flying under the radar as America's team, but what are they really? So to tie it into CeeDee Lamb, you paid this man this money for what? To not make the playoffs. I don't mean to jab you Dallas fans out there, but I had to get it in. I had to get my.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, as deemed America's team, you're gonna have to come through one way or the other. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Denise.
As an Eagles fan, clearly, I think CD,
as an Eagles fan,
CD is gonna do it where he's gonna have a great start to the season, and then lo and behold, he gets to the middle of the season, and he's gonna say, "Oh, I need a better support system here." Because if you look at most of their team right now, especially their quarterback, who shall not be named, they're not really doing too good, and I think that's where it's gonna probably frustrate him and go to the owner Jerry Jones and say, "Look, you either get me help on every area I need help in, or I want out. I'll break that contract." And to confirm, Dallas has not been good for the past 30 years, and I think they need to stop acting like they've been good for the past 30 years. And yeah, that's my point.
Denise always bringing the controversy, the extra side, the extra piece no one's talking about.
So I'm not a fan of owners that downplay some of their best players, and I've heard in interviews and conversations Jerry Jones talk about some of his players, and that's where I'm like, do you really want to go there?
Let's talk about the whole Jerry Jones Dallas Cowboys thing, right? So, number one, Dak got paid, had a contract done recently, right? Now Dak's looking for another one, right? Whether he's looking for one or they're trying to get him another one, it's like they're saying that Dak's looking at the $60 million quarterback range, right? That's up there with like Joe Burrow in those guys, right? So then you're looking at CeeDee Lamb. Then you got Micah Parsons,
Yeah.
who still has yet to have something done. Here's my thing. This is sports wide, but it's like the writing's on the wall. You pay Dak, you pay CD, you pay Micah Parsons. Who else are you gonna pay?
Nobody.
Nobody. So now you're banking on 2 offensive guys and a defensive guy to carry your team.
That's not hard.
If you don't have pieces around that team, one of those guys go down, your season is over. Now listen, I'm not a fan of Dak Prescott. I believe Dak Prescott is a good quarterback in this league. Great in the regular season, not so great in the postseason. And listen, I'm not here to rag on anyone about getting paid. All I'm saying is the zeros tell me what the expectations are. And that's in any organization. The amount of zeros behind that number say what the expectations are. So that's all I'm going to say. Expectations. And they've had expectations for a long time and have not come through with one. Now, people will say, well, as a Bengals fan, they haven't either. True. But the Bengals, we recognize we've been bad for a while. And now we're on the up and up. And it's kind of like, hey, we was one play away from winning the Super Bowl. So, like, we at least have been there. Dallas ain't even been there. Let me calm down. I feel like my Stephen A. Smith coming on. I'm sorry. Get it back to the wide receivers. Justin Jefferson. He was the one that got paid. He's the one to reset the market.
Okay.
All right. $35 million that he got set. So that set the market for CD, Jamar Chase, Ayuk, all those guys. So I want to make sure I put that out there so that way we can put our facts. Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings, got paid, set the market, and that's where we are with the wide receivers right now. All right. So take a little brief break. We'll come back, kind of finish up, and we'll talk about some more NFL previews, give our own Super Bowl previews, what teams are going to do what, who might be in the Super Bowl this year, who we think might win. Frame Money Podcast. Be right back. Are you looking for an apparel company that's positive, uplifting, and truly cares about you? Then look no further. Frame of Mind Inc., an apparel brand company, impresses on individuals to think positive thoughts, say positive things, and do positive deeds. Get positive apparel, such as t-shirts, hoodies, and wristbands for children, teens, and adults in various colors and sizes. Customized services include logo and t-shirt design, screen printing for individuals, families, schools, profit, and nonprofit organizations. You can reach Frame of Mind Inc. at 302-689-3499 or visit their website at www.frameofmindinc.com. Frame of Mind Inc. Think it, speak it, achieve it.
It's a frame of mind.
All right, welcome back. Before we left, we were talking about Aaron Rodgers and his comeback, wide receivers who are looking to get paid and have their restructured contracts. And also with that being said, wide receivers talking about how the Dallas Cowboys could probably put themselves in a bit of a bind, having to pay both Dak, CD, and Mike Parsons. And then what do you have left to pay the rest of your players or players who come to your team to help the team win? Right now, I want to just kind of shift gears. I think there's going to be a part 2 to this because there's a lot to talk about before the first game of the season, right? So, talking about what teams do we believe are going to have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl? And then what teams do you think are going to play in the Super Bowl? And what team do we think is going to win the Super Bowl? So, the one thing I want to say for the Eagles fans that are out there, it has been said that on paper, the Eagles have the best team on paper right now. With the addition of who's it that they just got from wide receiver?
What's his name?
I know we got Saquon.
Come on, Eagles fans!
I know we got
That's
Saquon, but no.
I'm gonna ask my son.
We got
I'm gonna ask my son.
Saquon Barkley. We got
You got Barkley?
Saquon Barkley, and we just signed the wide receiver from the the Commanders. His last
Yes.
name's
Okay.
Dotson.
Yeah, Dotson.
Dotson. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Dotson. So let's say on paper, the Eagles have the best team on paper to date right now at the signing Dotson. Okay. That's Saquon Barkley.
AJ Brown.
Just want to throwing it out there
Yeah.
for all you Eagles fans in the NFC. The AFC, in my opinion, is kind of open. Now, of course, you got KC, Cincy, you got possibly the Ravens. You know, they're still in that mix. I would even go as far. I won't go as far as say the Chargers. Not yet. The Chargers they got to see them with Jim Harbaugh coaching them and see how things go. But the AFC is kind of open. I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks in the AFC. NFC, you kind of got your 5 or 6 teams you can pick from and choose from and say, okay, these teams have an opportunity to play for Super Bowl. So let's go NFC first, since that kind of seems to be a little less pickings in there. So who do we think could play or contend for Super Bowl in the NFC?
The Eagles for sure.
The Niners.
Niners, yeah.
The Niners, the Eagles for sure. I think you got. I want to say Detroit, but I don't know yet.
I like Detroit.
I like Detroit.
They almost
I
bad,
think
yeah.
Detroit could have went last year. They at the end they wet the bed, man.
Yeah,
But that like Detroit they were there.
yeah,
They were there, man. But they're not used to being there. And I think that was the problem.
right.
So I think them getting that taste in their mouth kind of like, okay,
Kind of
we
like,
got a little taste in their mouth. So now I'm like,
yeah.
okay. So I put Detroit in that conversation. I don't think they'll get there, but I think Detroit is knocking on the door and people are seeing them coming. So
And that might be it, man. That might be what we name. Is that 4? Or we name what we name?
Niners, Eagles,
Eagles,
Detroit.
Detroit. You want to say the Vikings, maybe, huh?
I don't know.
Not this year.
Without the starting QB, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a rookie, you know what I mean? But still, I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Not sure. I mean, you could say Green Bay if you wanted to. If you want to throw another team out there. People are saying Atlanta because now they got Cousins,
Right.
you know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm not sure about that either.
Yeah.
I think it takes a season or two for him.
Yeah, I mean, and Kirk Cousins is kind of like that saying. It's almost like to me, he's like a resemblance of a Lamar Jackson, where it's like right during the season, playoff time comes, it's like you just where you at, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure. So I think it's safe to say if you want to really put definitive teams in there, Niners, Eagles, Detroit, I would throw Green Bay in there just as a wild card team, but anyone else is like you're kind of fighting to get in that spot. You know what I mean? So from an AFC standpoint, you got Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens,
Texans.
Texans. You've got
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Okay, I gotta say something about Buffalo.
Okay.
My guy, I'm rooting for Buffalo, and I'm rooting for Buffalo for one reason only, and that's because of Keon Henderson. I think he's gonna be dynamic this season with him and
Okay.
Allen together. And I also want to buy a Bills jersey just for him, but we're not gonna say that. But I think the Bills are gonna, even if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, I think they're gonna be contenders in the playoffs.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I give it to them.
Is there anybody else who said Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Ravens? Who else did we say? I think that was it so far. I thought we had a fifth one. So we got those 4. Now again, there are other teams that can contend, but like I thought those might be our top 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not as far as playoffs are concerned. I say okay, yeah, the Browns will probably may be there in the playoffs, possibly. The Chargers may be in the playoffs. Broncos possibly. I'm not sure, but Super Bowl contenders. All right, KC, Bengals, Buffalo, Ravens. All
What
right.
about
So
the
we got
Dolphins?
the Dolphins won't be if it's cold weather, forget it.
Forget it. They
Forget it.
they
You know what I mean?
they cracking
So
the top.
Miami has to play at home throughout the playoffs to actually get there. If it's not warm weather, forget it. It's just not happening. It's just that simple.
And I also feel like Tua is not 100% still. I just, from what I've watched in like him practicing and interviews, I don't think he's not all the way there, but he also hasn't been there since when he was injured last season. So
I'm not a 100% believer in Tua, and that's not saying he can't play. It's just I'm not sure if Tua is on that level yet. Like I think he's like pushing. I'm not sure he's actually cracked the ceiling yet. So and that's just me. Again, the dude can play. He can play. He's a baller. I'm just not sure if he's cracked that ceiling to get Miami to that next level to be on that echelon. So we got 4 in the NFC, we got 4 in the AFC.
I give you a
Now we're saying,
I give
okay, go ahead.
I give you a sleeper AFC.
Okay.
The Jaguars with Doug Peterson.
Okay. And
That young quarterback. They might do it.
and we said Texans. We said Texans too.
Yeah,
So
we
that's
said
it.
Texans.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
CJ, I
We
think
said
he's gonna do
Texans.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a bona fide 5 with the Jaguars being a little wild card there. So who do we think is going to play in Super Bowl? Who do we think is going to play? Is it going to be just you're going to pick 2 teams or 4 teams that could possibly play in it, and then say, okay, who's going to play? Who's going to win? What do we see?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say, I hate to say this, but I have to turn things around here. I don't know if I see the Chiefs being in there this year. I don't know. I feel like
Okay.
something this season is gonna happen. They could get to the playoffs, but I don't know about the Super Bowl. I feel like this is gonna be a season of a lot of like the underdogs and a lot of upsets this season. I'm just prophesying that
Okay.
now. So I don't
Okay.
see the Chiefs being in. I definitely see the Eagles. Wouldn't be surprised if the Bills are there. Texans possibly, and the Bills as well.
Okay.
Mm.
All right.
And maybe the
Oh, what
Bengals.
you got?
So
I got it. So I'm gonna take my team out of it because I'm, hands down, right? So I'm gonna take my team out of it, and I'll say the 49ers, and I gotta go Kansas City. And if Kansas City don't do it, I would like to see that Texans team win or go. I like that whole team from coach down to I like the entire team. They got the
Okay.
quarterback is solid. He's solid off the field and on the field. Solid dude.
Got you.
So
Okay.
I would like to see the Texans. I go Texans Eagles. But if I take the team out of it, Texas 49ers.
Okay.
Texas 49ers.
So my only thing with the Texans is I feel as though CJ Stroud's rookie year is going to kind of decide how he plays, not how he plays this year, but how teams prepare for him. And I think that most quarterbacks who have a rookie season that great, teams now have film on you. And if you can't rise to that occasion, you may have an okay year or take a step back because now teams have film on you. That college film is different than that NFL film. So I think that if Stroud can raise his level of play and not be predictable, Houston's got a chance. But even if he does play above what he did last year, I still don't put Houston in there. I think that there's a little more experience needed, but that's just my own opinion. From the NFC, it's tough, man, because I feel like Detroit can make some noise, man. I really do. I feel like Detroit could possibly shock some people and possibly get there. I don't necessarily think it'll happen, but I think they have a chance to. I would probably pick. I'll probably pick the Niners, but the Eagles would be my second pick to go. AFC wise, I'm gonna go with Denise. I'm gonna say I don't think KC is gonna make it because I feel that Cincinnati is gonna knock them out. I really do.
J-
And
I
I'm
gotta
being
add.
really
Okay.
serious about it because my thing is this is that here's the thing. If Burrow plays an entire season, I believe the Bengals will go to the Super Bowl. I believe it. Now, if Burrow gets hurt, something happens, that kind of that changes all of that. But I'm gonna be like, oh, I'll take my team out of it, and I'll say in the AFC, I'll say that if I take my team out of it, I gotta go with Kansas City again because I don't see anybody but my team beating them. So I gotta go with Kansas City. But in the NFC, I would have to go San Francisco first. I don't want to see a KC San Francisco Bowl again, but that's just me. My thing is, I would love to see either a Bengals Niners game again because that was kind of the 80s classic, right?
Throwback, yeah.
Or I like to see a Bengals Eagles. But if I had to pick, I would say Bengals 49ers. So taking my team out of it, KC Niners, put my team in it, 49ers, Bengals is what I say. What do you have? Did you say something you
I
want
was
to
gonna
say?
say once Burrow dyed his hair that blonde color, I don't know, but it's like once he did that and he came out, it was like a whole different Burrow in a good way. So I'm saying I think he's gonna upset a lot of teams in a good way this year. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So all right. So the ultimate question is who's going to win Super Bowl? And again, we could be wrong. But hey, that's the fun of it, right? Who's going to win Super Bowl this year? Based on the teams that we put in, who do you think is going to win Super Bowl? So I again, I will take my team out of it based on if I say I got a San Fran and a Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl. I would have to say, um, I think the Niners would win this year if they played against KC. And I say that because I think the Niners just there's a chip on their shoulder that's really big. And if they play against Kansas City again, I think that they're gonna be like, nah, not this time. Not this time. So that would be my pick to win outside of me taking my team out of it. I say the Niners. What say ye?
The thing is, I'm gonna piggyback off that. I think the Niners too. I think they're unstoppable if healthy. Like you can't
Mm,
stop that offense healthy. It's almost impossible.
mm,
I've seen it. So it's only when guys get hurt is when it goes. It just doesn't look the same. So
mm.
like we got lucky that I think the year we went, we didn't win it all. Them guys got hurt that game, that NFC Championship. They were hurt.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So they're borderline unstoppable, healthy. So I'm gonna
They,
go.
they were pulling
Uh,
they were pulling quarterbacks out of the stands,
yeah,
man.
man. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
if
crazy.
they can stay healthy and make it all the way to that point, I gotta go Niners all myself. What you got, Denise?
Taking my team out of it as well. I have to say the Bills. I'm
Ooh.
gonna say the Bills.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna say the
That
Bills.
was a good one.
I'm gonna say
Ah.
because
I would like to see Josh Allen win.
they really invested not only the money but the time into getting some talent this season and helping Allen. So I'm gonna say the Bills. If not
I
my
gotta
Eagles,
give I gotta give a small rebuttal on that one. Small rebuttal.
that's fine.
Josh Allen is a great quarterback when he wants to be. I'll say that. My thing is that when your top wide receiver wants out, that says a lot to me.
ah,
But they did that
ah,
with
Now again,
Theo.
now listen.
ah.
Did that with Theo.
There's some things there was like that there could be some like prima donna stuff going on. I don't know.
Mhm.
But when your top wide receiver wants out and you're in that kind of position, I'm like, I'm not sure that to me that might say something. But again, let's see what happens this year coming up because if we get the same Josh Allen this year as we've had in the past few years, I'm like, I don't know. He might be who he's showing us to be. You know?
Yeah, and I'm a believer in that too. Like whoever you show me, that's who you are. I can't keep saying, man, next year I'm telling you. No.
Right.
He is who
But
he is.
Because here's my thing with Josh Allen is that you lost to KC in the playoffs. You lost to the Bengals in the playoffs. I'm like, the two guys that have been there in the past couple of years, you haven't beaten yet. So I'm like, I gotta hold that against you a little bit because they were saying, oh, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, no, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Like, that's what we're looking at right there. So until he actually can get to that AFC Championship game, I gotta pump the brakes on him. I got to. Now, that's your pick, and that's cool. I'm gonna give out a little rebuttal because I'm like, if he plays the same way he had the past few years, I'm like, he might be showing us who he actually is.
But I think this is also his make it or break it season for them. Like he
I
either
I
has
agree.
it or they're cutting him. And I think Keon Henderson is gonna bring the fire under him. Like, yo, I'm a Florida State guy. We don't do this down in Florida. You could do this where you're from, but you either gonna play this game and get us to the Super Bowl, or something's gotta give. So
I hear you. And I agree. A make it or break it season for
yeah,
him. I can agree with that. I agree with that. All right, so we got 2 Niners, 1 Buffalo Bills. Let's be honest, the Bills need one desperately. I mean, to lose 4 in a row, it's kind of like, how do you come back from that? You know what I mean? It's like your chance. It's almost kind of like you don't win that. It's like, do we ever have a chance to even win one now? So that would be huge for the city if that happened. But we'll see. So there'll definitely be a part 2. There's more we could talk about, but that's what we got right now. So part 2 will probably likely come out in a week or so, and then we'll talk about what happens before the season actually kicks off on September 15th, I believe, which is a Thursday night game between I can't remember who it was, but we'll look at it again. Thursday
Ravens.
night game. Ravens and Chiefs?
I think it's Ravens Chiefs.
Let's see. Ravens and Chiefs. Anyway, hey, Thursday night game. Ravens Chiefs, September 5th. Not 15th, September 5th. I'm sorry.
And then we're the next
Ravens
day.
Chiefs. And then the Eagles and Packers are that Friday. I have to give the NFL credit, man. They like when the NFL starts, like they've gotten to the point where they're like, hey, we're taking over. We're playing on every night of the week. We're playing Monday night, Sunday night. We're playing on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday. They just take it over. I give them credit for that. They kind of like it's a takeover. I give it to them.
Yeah,
So
I
We
just
playing
feel like
Brazil.
who Eagles.
Yeah, the Friday night game. That's in Brazil.
Yeah, I just feel like I hear what you're saying about the takeover,
It's a little
but it's
much.
too much. It's too much football,
So
man.
much.
oh no,
Y'all
it
taking
is. It
Thursday,
is.
So
Friday,
much.
Sunday, and Monday. I
It
got life.
is. It is a lot. It is. I'm just giving them credit
I
for
got
just
you.
saying, hey man, we're just gonna go all in, just take over.
And I agree
It
with
is
that.
a lot of football and it is a little too much,
It's too
but it's
much,
like, man, it's like I gotta give them credit for being like, hey, we're just gonna take over and y'all just got to deal with it because we're just gonna do it.
And they're striking deals with all these companies. Like they got to deal with them. Like they got 1 million deals. So these different networks want their night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get it, but
Yeah.
I don't have the time.
I hear you.
The Taylor
Look,
Swift
I
effect.
either
calling
gotta
it.
watch the highlights or do red zone and be like, hey man, just show me the touchdowns, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm calling it.
Just show me how the game was won. That's it. So
Get your mind right. Get your mind right. It's a frame of mind.
any last words before we go? I know we talked a lot today. Any last words?
I'm saying this is the Taylor Swift effect. That's what I'm calling it.
The what
The
now?
who?
The Taylor Swift effect. Taylor Swift. That's what I'm
Oh
calling it.
gosh. Okay. All right.
What's that? What
Because
is the effect?
now they
That,
recruited more fans and all her Swifties. So now they're like, oh, in between their concerts and shows, let's get more games in. Start reeling more fans in. Let's have
oh,
more days, recruit them in,
Mm,
oh.
watch more
mm.
games. Capitalism, capitalize.
Is this a positive effect or a negative effect?
Let's see if they break up this season. That's all I can say.
Ooh. Whew.
Do they
The
make it
knees
another season or
came.
not?
The knees came with a cliffhanger. Let's just see what
We'll
happens.
see. We'll see.
Okay. What you got? Oh, anything you got to say?
I think it's gonna be a good season, man. I'm actually excited for it. Like I said, it's my favorite time of the year. So outside of just football, it's just a great time of the year. So
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. What's it in 2 weeks? September 5th? You said
September 5th. Yep.
I'll be front and center. And I can't wait. And then we can double back and see if our predictions come to pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully they
So
don't. Actually, I said the 49ers, so hopefully I'm wrong.
hopefully I'm wrong too.
Yeah.
I just took my team out of it.
I
But
need my Eagles to think.
I,
Yeah.
I just gotta be truthful about what I see. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And maybe halfway by the time we get to the playoffs, kind of like, man, it's like the playoffs is kind of a little lopsided. I don't know who's going now.
Right.
So
Right.
we'll see. But I have nothing left to say. I've talked enough today. So for all of us at the Frame on It podcast, continue to think it, speak it, and achieve it. And until next time, myself, and Denise, we holla.